So when you wake up and read a headline like this, you got to think, sheesh. You mean he's sitting there perplexed that he didn't destroy enough jobs? I mean, that's what they want, right? They want to kill inflation. How do you kill inflation? You kill the economy. You kill the economy, you kill jobs. I think, though, because of demographics and other things, I read a pamphlet a long time ago. I don't know if the first thing I'm going to say was in a pamphlet, but the second thing definitely was in this pamphlet. The first thing was is by the time I'd get in my 30s and 40s, there'd be lots of jobs because all the boomers would be retiring or just, whether they're alive or not, they simply can't be productive. They're just not. I'm seeing it a lot. Yeah, like their minds don't work the same. It's not their fault. They're aging. I guess the goal is to try to take the right nutrients as you live, say at my age, so that when you get that age, because there are people who are older are pretty sharp. Believe it or not, my dad's pretty sharp for being in his 80s. But even he can't really work. I mean, he sort of could do something. But point is that like part of this is demographics. That there's just a lot of jobs. But what does the money buy? Right? That's the problem. We are in a recession. They're liars to tell you we're not. You can still find a job, but the prices are going up so fast that the economic growth is not anywhere near it. And the Fed has basically a hammer and everything's a nail. I mean, they have all these crazy tools, but at the end of the day, what they're controlling is how much credit functions as money. That's just a fact. If you go take out a loan to buy a house, you created $300,000 or whatever amount of money that they let you take at interest rates that are now. How come like a mortgage is like 6 or 7%, but I only get like 2 or 3% in the bank? Like they used to be closer to parity when I was very young. But yeah, obviously we had a healthier economy. Now, in the past, a recession meant a bunch of people lose their jobs. Like the Fed, kills the economy. A bunch of people lose their jobs, and it sucks, right? But they just sit there in a room. They got good food and stuff. They're not worried about anything, so they can just press a button. And the Fedders, most of you don't know what you're talking about. Most, very few. Like the people that really understand the Fed are like, no one in the Fed take control of it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you could. I'm so right, I bump into the left. I'm so left, I bump into the right. It's like But what I wanted to show is this. Here's a country where people come here all the time. I realize that a lot of people crossing the border are not actually from Mexico, but I know a lot of people from Mexico in my community because it's like half people from that are Hispanic, and a lot of those, I would say, probably a third of this city is from Mexico. You know, and it's funny because like the typical pattern is like the people in my neighborhood that the parents barely speak English, the kids are bilingual, and they don't even want to speak Spanish. Like they're just, you know, they get like kind of like they roll their eyes if you try to speak it to them. Their parents love it, but the kids don't. But if you look at this is the unemployment rate of Mexico. So to think about, we got a country where people are coming here all the time for a better life. Look at how low their unemployment rate is. It's not like they can't find a job in Mexico. They can. It's just what does it pay? What do they get? And so yeah, they had this spike during the recession, but even then, they beat us on the unemployment rate. I don't know if this is apples to apples, but let's just say it is because I don't have any other way to do it. Um, Very low unemployment rate, and yet here they are coming here all the time, right? The whole debate, and I believe it. I run into it's weird. Some people say Mexico is better. Like I know Americans that go down there and think it's the best place on earth. And then I run into Mexicans up here that are like, and that's not racist to say Mexican. I mean, I'm talking about people from Mexico, okay? Um, I know a lot of people just calling me Hispanic and Mexican, but that's not what I'm doing. I'm talking about people from Mexico. Many of them that I run into will be very proud of their country, but they'll tell me that they can't really get ahead and it's very corrupt. And, they always have some story about somebody that, it's bad, I don't even want to go there. But as you can see, you're not going to have trouble finding a job in Mexico, probably without even speaking Spanish, right? You could just teach English or something, or something like that. I mean, you know, as long as they let you work. I mean, they have their own rules too. They have. It's kind of funny how they can have rules, but we can't, right? I mean, I respect their rules, but why can't we have ours? Um, but yeah, a lot of people come here from Mexico. I like them personally, sometimes better than white people. But I'm not really going there for say. But my point is to go back to this article. You know, they're literally sitting there going, "We got to get unemployment up," because if they can't get unemployment up, I can go, "I want more money at a job." You know, they don't like that. That's the last thing they want. Everybody goes, "The Fed creates inflation. The Fed creates inflation." No, you don't know what's going on. They want inflation dead. They can't control it, and they're fucking scared right now. They are scared to death because if they don't get inflation under control, and I think it is getting better. I mean, the gas prices are a little lower, and you know the price. No, look at the egg thing. Now that can correct itself pretty easily. Not sure why it hasn't yet, but I think it will. You know, you'll never see 99-cent dozen eggs again, but you know, you'll see $2 ones again. You know, I mean, inflation does march on, but they're scared. Like he's perplexed that the jobless claims are down. You would think that's good news, right? It's not. Not for them. It is for you if you work, kinda. Except you got to pay for shit that other people have to do, so you're going to pay more too. So you're kind of in the same boat as the banksters, since we all depend on the dollar. But my point, I think, really was is like, are we turning into an economy where the unemployment rate is low and it doesn't matter? Like you can find a job, but it's just as good as not having one in a strange way. In fact, it's kind of like, you know, but yeah, the pamphlet I read said that, yeah, by the time I got to like my 30s, jobs would be fairly plentiful because the boomers are retiring. They were off by about 6 or 7 years. And then the other thing it said, if it wasn't that one, I think it was. It's just my dad had this newsletter from a conspiracy. It wasn't Art Bell, but it was like a conspiracy guy. Yeah, you would call him a conspiracy theorist. He'd be like an Alex Jones in the 80s or something. The other thing the pamphlet said, which was totally correct, and I followed the advice. It's funny. I read this as a kid and I just do it. Um, was that like you don't want to get into manufacturing? They're going to ship all those jobs off, get into tech, and live somewhere in the west coast of the Pacific Northwest. Bingo, they called it. So yeah, and why not? I mean, it's a cool life. Apart from some of the idiocy, but yeah. Perhaps now as far as this chart goes, it's a chart of every state, the plunge in the unemployment rate. Well, yeah, you don't look at this chart and go, well, California is doing something right. No, it's such a big state that the plunge is bigger, you know, and then the smaller states, I mean, like Alaska, Wyoming, I mean, you know, their data, this chart is very flawed because it doesn't do it in terms of percentages. That's my opinion. Like, how can you compare a number from California, like when we're talking about pure jobless claims? Like, I would do this by percentages versus the working age population. You know, this chart's stupid. But it does show that jobless claims have plunged because I think the boomers are retired or getting unproductive, and it's just where we're at. Very interesting. You know, it kind of makes you think about the period of time after the plague. I read after the Black Plague that, like, the worker totally got the upper hand. Whoever survived, hint, hint, whoever, yeah, survived, um, pretty much got the pick of the litter in terms of what job they wanted, what house they wanted. I mean, I even read about people like literally walking into royalties' houses and just assuming it, like in France or something, because like nobody else was there. It's like an abandoned castle or some shit. I'm not saying it's going to be like that, but we're kind of in a period like that. So you as a worker might have more leverage than you think, and the Fed, while I agree that the Fed does some fucked up things, you don't understand what they actually do and how they don't control the economy. We control the economy. And they know it. They're scared to death. And so yeah, it makes me think a new era is hitting though, where our dollar's gotten so worthless that we're kind of like a third world country, as they say. I mean, the stuff I'm seeing, you know, like, you know, I don't know what it's like in other countries, but the stuff I'm seeing at the store. I'm gonna go to the store today. I go to a kind of a ghetto store. This not the one not the Dollar Tree. I don't shop at the Dollar Tree, but the 125 tree. No, it should be a $5. I said that. That would be the business move. That would be like I should be CEO. Like they should just, yeah. But no, nobody listens to me. But it's all right. Somebody will eventually. But yeah, this is indicative of a demographic change and possibly our dollar becoming so worthless. And it's not. You gotta understand, paper currencies have been around for a long time. Like in China, they did it for hundreds of years, and they work. So it's not like I'm against paper currencies or think we should go on a gold standard. A gold standard, first of all, is meaningless unless it actually exchanges for gold, and it's a little antiquated for our age. As much as I think gold is cool to look at or whatever, I just don't think we should. All these people buying all this gold and silver and shit. It's cool, but I think it's cool for jewelry. I get it. It has uses. It has uses. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying not to buy any stocks, and I have mining stocks because that's like to my way the best proxy. Well, that's got a caveat to it too. But anyway, I just think we're in a new era of economics where you as a worker probably have the upper hand, even in the middle of a recession. I'm not saying to go demand a raise right now, but just keep in mind that you're probably in the driver's seat, and who knows what the forced thingies are gonna do in terms of those of us who didn't. Kind of wondering. But yeah. Good morning. Good morning, Oregon. Let's head away. Right there. What do I? No. Right there. All right.